According to a new poll, nearly 8 in 10 white evangelicals approve of President Trump's job performance, almost the same amount that voted for him. No other demographic supports him more. Much of that loyalty isn't tied to the president's personal piety, but what evangelicals say is his defense of America's Christian identity. So how do church leaders reconcile the president's policies and often his rhetoric with what the Bible teaches about kindness, adultery, and honesty? Reverend Samuel Rodriguez is the president of the National Hispanic Christian Leadership Conference, and he is the rare Latino evangelical who's also an informal advisor to President Trump. He's in Los Angeles today. It's so nice to have you with us. Thanks for being with us, Pastor Sam.
Thank you for having me.
You bet. You support President Trump, and I'm so curious as to why.
Well, let me be clear here. I support President Trump's policies as it pertains to protecting religious liberty, the sanctity of life, addressing the issue of Christian persecution. These are the policies that I support. I don't endorse any candidate, never have. I worked with the Bush administration, and I worked with President Obama for 8 years, actually. I served as an advisor in his fatherhood task force and worked with his White House on a number of issues. So to me, it's a continuum. I'm not a Republican or a Democrat. I am a Christian committed to the image of God in every single human being. I don't think any community should be married to one political party or the other. I think we should be, as Christians, I think we should be independent of political manipulation. But I do believe there are values that we hold near and dear. And these are the values that we bring forth or advance via the conduit of public policy.
There are other values, too, and I would have to imagine that you do not see President Trump as an ideal model of Christian faith, do you?
No, listen, President Trump, as we are well aware, and this is prior now to his election, in his history, part of his historical narrative, we are aware of, let's just say, deficiencies or the lack of lining up with what the Bible outlines as model behavior as it pertains to marriage, family, integrity, character, and so forth. At the same time, to be very forthright, we have issues of Bill Clinton back in the 1990s when I was a young man. You know, our presidents have not been the most morally pristine individuals on planet Earth.
I mean, I guess it sounds like you're saying, well, every single president's terrible.
No, every single president is not terrible. But you have to do a comparative analysis of historical narratives as it pertains to morality outside the confines of what they do as presidents. So, for example, why did we have 92% of African Americans supporting Bill Clinton, even with his moral turpitude? So the question is, why do 81% of white evangelicals support Donald Trump, even with his moral turpitude? So there seems to be an agenda different from a rubric of personal character morality for communities of faith in America. That's my point.
Is there a split in your congregation? Are there people who feel that you should be a voice of opposition and speaking up for the Latino community in ways that are more oppositional to the president?
You would have to ask the good Lord, why does Sammy Rodriguez believe that God has an assignment for him to be light even in the midst of darkness? What if my presence there will help out our community, our Latino community, our immigrant community, the Christian community? When I have disagreed with the president, I have been very vociferous, but in a respectful way, just like I was with President Obama, indeed. So I want to respect the office, but I want to shine light. I want to speak truth. I want to make sure these dreamers don't get deported. I want to make sure that life is protected in and out of the womb. I want to see a national commission on healing and racial reconciliation. I want the president to say every American is created in the image of God.
Pastor Sam, it's so nice to have you. Thanks for talking with me.
Thank you for having me.
You bet.